You mentioned Jose at the beginning of that, Zach, in terms of the pace he's on for home runs. And, there was some thought, maybe in the deep recesses of everybody's mind, was last year the year he starts to slowly decline, as players did pre-steroids once they reach a certain age. And early this season, he got off to a bit of a slow start. But, man, outside of maybe Aaron Judge, I don't think there's a hotter hitter in baseball right now. And like Aaron Judge, I think Jose Ramirez is certainly in the conversation for the MVP. Now, it's silly to have that conversation at the end of May, but it's fun. So I'm going to go with it. Jose Ramirez is back to playing his best baseball. He might be playing better than he ever has. I mean, he's unconscious right now. They cannot get him out.
The last 3 weeks, he has 10 home runs and 10 strikeouts. You just don't see that in today's game. He's a marvel. I mean, it's like the longer an at bat goes, the more you just assume he's going to do something incredible. And you just see him learning. You see him. There was an at bat on Sunday where he couldn't hold up. You could see his timing was messed up, or he didn't recognize the pitch. I think it was I don't remember if it was a curveball or a slider, and he kind of got caught in between. And you see him shaking his head as he goes back to the dugout because he expects greatness every time he steps in there. And how can you argue? Just the run he's been on lately. I mean, he got off to a slow start, and it was a lot of impatience, just chasing at pitches because he was so eager to swing, wanted to inflict damage on every pitch, and probably like last year felt like he had to carry the offense. And the patience comes back a little bit. The key with him is if you're going to, you get into your 30s, every hitter meets decline at some point. But why do they meet decline? Is it because the bat speed isn't there? Is it because they're just older and slower and they don't, their body doesn't move the way they do, so they can't reach certain pitches? Or, it's not like the skills that he has where he can recognize, the strike zone so well. So he usually doesn't chase, and he can make contact with anything. Like those things, they could age pretty well. Like I thought as he got older, he would turn into more of like a singles and doubles hitter, and you would just lose some of that power. But his innate ability to make contact and to swat fastballs and to just yank everything, like that's not just going to disappear overnight. So what is so impressive, and what tells me that he's nowhere near that decline, the fact that he's got 15 home runs, the bat speed's there, the power's there. It's incredible. And so you just see like what has worked so well for this team this year is when one person or one part of the roster suffers or takes a step back, someone else steps up. Josh Naylor carried this lineup in April. Yep. He's been in a miserable slump the last few weeks. Jose Ramirez has gone on a tear. So you don't miss a beat that way. And he's been incredible, and it's been a good reminder because there were some people who were worried. The guy's in his 30s.
Yep.
And you need him to be that centerpiece of the lineup, and he has been.
There are 10 players in Major League Baseball with 13 or more home runs right now. And amongst those 10 players, Jose Ramirez has the least amount of strikeouts with 26. Which is crazy. I mean, for a player to have 26 strikeouts and be one of the premier power hitters right now is like unheard of. And the guy who's the second least amount of strikeouts is Josh Naylor, which he has 33, and then Kyle Tucker of the Astros has 36. Everybody else has the 40s, 50s, or 60s of those big-time home run hitters. So, I mean, you have the two guys with the most home runs that strike out the least. It's really incredible. And you're right. That's even with Naylor in a major slump. And what's incredible is in April, you say that Naylor carried the team, and he did. And the guy who was carrying it with him was basically Kwan, and he hasn't played for a while, and Naylor hasn't done anything for a while. And yet here they are, other guys, Jose Ramirez and kind of a host of other guys, including David Fry, although he had a quiet game yesterday. But whenever they've needed other guys to step up, even if they don't consistently do it all year, they have. And this team has been the definition of clutch almost all season long.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, think back to Jose Ramirez debuted in 2013. He was 20 years old. He was basically a pinch runner during their September run.
Yep.
The next year, they tried to give him the shortstop job, couldn't hit. The next year, they tried to give him the shortstop job just until Francisco Lindor's service time was manipulated. He couldn't hit. So he arrives at spring training in 2016. He's 23 years old, career 239 hitter, no power. Now look at him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like 6 weeks away from passing Albert Bell and Manny Ramirez to move into second place on the all-time home run leaderboard in franchise history, behind only Jim Thome. Who would have thought that? It's unbelievable. And I think there's so much talk about him year after year after year about he's underrated, he doesn't get enough attention. And I think nationally that's true. I hope locally it isn't.
No.
You know, I feel like we spend so much time talking about how he's underrated that maybe he's properly rated in Cleveland. But I mean, I don't know if people realize that. Like he's 11 home runs behind Albert Bell for second on the all-time list.
That's insane.
It's remarkable.
Imagine during those struggles he was having early in his career, if I would have said to you, or you would have said to me, yeah, someday he's going to pass Manny and Albert Bell and the Guardians and the Indians at the time home run list.
I mean, a legitimate Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's certainly on track. I mean, we'll see how the rest of his career goes, but the way he's playing this year, yeah, I think there's no doubt about it. He's been remarkable. He's a team leader. He's always like, we saw this at bat. I don't mean to kill him too much, but we saw this at bat this past week where Francisco Lindor looked like he wasn't even trying on a 3-2 pitch, and it was really bizarre. Like Jose is just full of energy every moment of every game. It's insane. It seems like the guy's never tired, which is impossible, but it just seems that way. And I think it's contagious. I mean, the whole team kind of seems to feed off him, and they're a ton of fun to watch.
He's got that. He's always had this too, but there's like this, I don't know if it's a killer instinct, but he wants to destroy you. You can kind of see it at certain points, whether he, if he strikes out on a pitch where he's really frustrated at himself, or if he hits a home run.
Yeah.
Where you see like the mannerisms, and then he gets back to the dugout and it's like, I might be 5'9", 185 pounds, but like I am the giant in this matchup. I think that's his mindset, and it is infectious. I mean, it's when you see him doing what he can do, and you're in that dugout. How can you not be energized?
I think that's part of the reason he's been underrated over the years is because of his size. I think that's been a factor. Part of it's that he plays in Cleveland, but part of it is his size. And you know what? He may be underrated, I guess, nationally to some degree, but I don't think he's underrated amongst people that are like us, that love baseball and follow baseball. I don't think in any market, if you talk to diehard baseball fans anywhere in the country, I don't think Jose Ramirez is underrated. Maybe with the casual fan outside of Cleveland, but who cares about those people? I mean, it's insane. It's insane how good he's been this year.